Good morning everyone, this is Rosa Kelly and I'm here with a new mini album tutorial. Now as you requested, I'm going to share with you how I created my Santa Baby mini album, and this is going to be a very easy tutorial, so if you are a beginner crafter, this tutorial is going to be perfect for you. All we're going to need it's some chipboard and some heavyweight cards. Also gonna need some double-sided tape and your crafting tools. But yeah, so let's get started. So I'm gonna start with a chipboard. I cut two pieces and I brought it down here, and this measures 6.5 by 7. So you need two of those, and then you're gonna need one that measures 6.5 by 3. And when I make my 6 by 6 albums, they're not actually 6 by 6, they're a little bit bigger. And for me, it's because when I open the pages, I want the basic page itself to measure 6 by 6. That way we have a little bit more room for pictures, and then it also, if you're using a 6 by 6 paper pack, it's just way easier instead of cutting and trimming. So let me just quickly share with you how this looks like. Very simple, very easy. As you can see, this album was more about the embellishments. For the cover, we are going to start with two pieces of regular weight cardstock. I have 3 and the chipboard. So I'm gonna join these two together. I just added some double-sided tape here on the side, and I will join these two. Take out that tape, and so we're gonna start by layering our chipboard here. So we have our 3 pieces. Remember that the 6.5 inch side is going to be aligned with the spine, and the 7 inch side, it's gonna go long ways like that. So every time that I place my chipboard for my covers, I do make sure that I have a gap in between these 3 pieces. As you can see here, it's probably about, it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch for the gap. So I'm gonna use the 1 inch double-sided tape just because it's bigger and it's faster, but you can use the other one if you have only the one size, which basically what I need is the 1/2 inch tape. Okay, so I'm going to start by peeling this out, and these two, and placing this right here on the center where the 2 cardstock connect, just like so. And if you have followed any of my tutorials before, you probably already know how to do these steps. So I'm going to add my tape for both these pieces, and then I'll be right back. So I have everything covered on double-sided tape, and then I just go here and leave this little gap. If you don't know exactly how much space to leave, you can use something to guide you. You just need a little bit of room here, just like so. And then I will do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to just trim a little bit here, because all I need really, it's about 1 inch left over. So I don't like having this long piece on the side. So I am going to also trim the corners, and when you trim these corners, you want to make sure you're not going right against the chipboard. Let me show you here. You are leaving a little bit of white space in between your chipboard and your cardstock, and all you probably need is, again, about 1/8 of an inch. And that is just because when you fold this, you don't want to see the chipboard in there. All right, so the next thing I do is I just fold it. First I give it a soft fold, and then once I know I have it where I need it, I go back with my score tool and just press it. And I do the same for all 4 sides, and I do these before I add the tape, just in case we don't fold it right. We can always go back and refold it, and it's much easier to do that before we add the tape than when we have the tape on already. And now I go back and I add my tape. So since I have the 1 inch, I'm just going to use the 1 inch here. I'm gonna go all the way to the end, just like that. And then I can just take this out, and because we already know where it's gonna go, it's going to be much easier. And then I go back again with my bone folder and just fold that over. So for the sides, I am gonna use just a smaller tape, just like this. And when we fold this over, you wanna make sure you tuck your corners back in. I always just do it with my nails. You can also use your bone folder to do this. So you tuck them in a little bit so when you fold it, they're not pointing up. Then I go ahead and I mark where my page is going to fold, or where my spine is going to fold. I just give it a little mark with my bone folder to make it much easier to bend. And here we go. Now we have the base. To make the hinges, I'm gonna use another piece of 65-pound weight, and I'm gonna cut these at 6 inches along the smaller side. So you want this long 6x11 piece, and I'm going to score this piece at 1.5, and then at every 3/4 inch after that. Okay, so 1.5, 2.25, 3, 3 3/4, 4.5, 5.25, 6, 6 3/4, 7.5, 8.25, 9, and 9 3/4. Okay, and I'm gonna write all this down somewhere here on the screen. So now I have this long piece, and I'm gonna start by grabbing the first 2 3/4 inches and join them together. You're kind of gonna pinch it up and just do this. Then we leave the next one down, and then we grab the following 2, and again we're gonna pinch it up and create another crease like this. So then we leave the next one down, and we are gonna pinch the next 2 up like this, and same thing with the next 2. Okay, so now you will see that you're gonna have a shape like this, and like, you know, we put it together, it looks like that. So before I do anything to this, I'm gonna press it all down with my bone folder and make sure that this is really flat on one side, and then I'm gonna bend them to the next side, and again make sure these are really flat. And then we're gonna turn this to the back, open it up again, and on each one of those insert little hinge little pieces, I call them little heels. And each one side we're gonna add our tape, just like this. So I need one here, one here. So basically you do the first one, you skip 2, you skip 2 again, and then you do it just like that, and then you skip 2 again, and then we do it, if that's easier to understand. Okay, so now all I'm gonna do is peel off this tape and make sure I'm putting my little heels together, and these are going to be our hinges. So we have a piece like this. Now we grab it and we go back to our base or to our cover, and we're gonna place this right on the center here. Make sure that your hinges are centered on your spine, because you will notice that one side's a little bit longer than the other. So make sure that these 4 hinges are centered on your spine. And for this step, I'm actually going to just use glue. I suggest you use glue instead of the tape, because once you put it, it's hard to reposition. And this is a really good glue. The one that I'm using is art glitter glue, and it dries clear. It's really strong, so it's definitely my favorite one. And you do want to make sure you add a lot. Okay, so now again I'm gonna center it, and then you also want to make sure it is centered up and down with your album, and then we just press just like that. We're gonna let it dry for a little bit, and then I go back and I use my ruler and my scoreboard or my score tool, and wherever our bending lines are, you will see them on the top and the bottom. We're gonna put a ruler right there and do a little score line. Very gentle. And we'll do the same on the other side. Just like this. I scored it right there. And that is so we can bend this. So when we bend this, you don't want to get that bubble up here. Number one, you want to let it dry. This glue dries pretty quickly, which I love. And then we hold this here and just bend it. Okay, so no bubbles. And we do the same on the other. I hold this here where I score and I bend it. It helps. That's how I do it. Okay, so now that we have our cover and hinge ready, we can start with our pages. So the page construction for this album is going to be a little bit different than what I've done before. So I hope that you like this method, and this is going to make it so much easier, but we'll see. We'll see if you like it. So I'm going to start with my heavyweight. So for the page construction, you want to use only the heavyweight, or at least that's what I prefer. I'm going to cut the piece of 8.5 by 11 at 6 1/4 by 11. So you're gonna have 4 of these sizes. And now we're also going to need 4 sizes or 4 sheets of 6 1/4 by 7 1/4. And remember to save your scrap pieces, because we are also going to be using them. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my scoreboard right here, and we're going to start with the pieces that measure 6 1/4 by 7 1/4. I'm going to place these along the 7 1/4 inch side and score at 1/2 inch and at 6 3/4. Okay, so if you like, you could also do, if it's easier, you do 1/2 inch, you turn it around and you do 1/2 inch again. Now we're gonna grab our long pieces that measure 6 1/4 by 11, and we are simply going to score at 6 1/4. And we're gonna fold these just like so. So now I go back to the smaller ones and I'm gonna fold along the score lines, these two 1/2 inch here. We wanna press really hard on that. And then I'm gonna use my double-sided tape and place it on each one of these little flaps. All right, so now I'm ready to put these pages together. So if you notice, this is one side of the page and this is going to be the next side of the page. And we already have our flap built in the way we're doing this album. So when we put it together, this is the part that is really fun because you at this point will decide if you want your flap to go down, if we press it like this, because remember that our page opening is gonna be here after we put these two together. So if you want a flap going down, you can do it like that. If you want a flap going to the right, we will do this. Or if you want your flap going to the top, we will do this. So that is the part that I thought it makes it really simple because we have one step and then we can create 4 different layouts. So I first start by peeling a little bit off my tape, and I do this so when I place this here on top, I have a lot of room to adjust the page and make it even before I peel all the tape completely. So I'm gonna put this here, and now that I know that these are straight and aligned, I go ahead, press here what is sticky, and then just take this out, and then I turn it, and all I do with the other side is take this out too. Notice how I'm holding this out because you don't want this bubble up, and then when you press it down you have a bubble here, so you don't want that. So you want to always put your finger or your hand on top of it, keep it flat, and then you take it off. So this one right here, we have our insert on the side, which means this page is going to open to either this side or this side, right? So again, I'm gonna go with the next one. I'm gonna make sure the next one is gonna be on an up and down type thing. So I'm gonna do 2 up and down and 2 to the side. So this one will be to the with the flap on the top, and then I go back, take this out. Okay, so I have another page, and then next page. For the next page, I'm also gonna do an up and down one. So this one is gonna go down. Make sure it's aligned, press down, take this out, and then do the same thing on this other side. And one more, and now this one, because I want it to go sideways, I'm gonna press it like this. Make sure my opening is on this side, but then I'm just gonna turn it so I can peel this off. Okay, so here are my 4 pages, and somewhere I might have made a mistake because this opens up, and then I have 3 that open to the side, but I don't call this a mistake. I actually call it a change of plans, because now I'm just gonna have another layout to go to the side instead of up and down, which is totally okay. All right, so now we are ready to put this back in our album, and what I'm going to do is add some double-sided tape on my hinges. So my hinge measures 3/4 inches, and my double-sided tape, it's a 1/2 inch. So I do it like that because you want to put the 1/2 inch closest to the outside of your hinge, and then we turn it and closest to the outside again. So when we insert our page, when we insert this page, we are not gonna go all the way against the actual spine. We're just gonna go on top of the tape. So the tape is gonna guide us how much we're gonna put the page in. And if you push your page in all the way to your spine, your page is not gonna open flat. So I'm gonna start with the first one, and I want the opening to the bottom actually. And what I wanted to do on this layout was to add another one that'll go on the top. Now we can add the page first, or we can do the layout separately. So maybe we can just work this out really quick here. And it's much easier to do it outside the book. So I'm gonna grab one of the scrap pieces that I had, and I'm gonna cut these at 6 3/4. Okay, and score, place this right here really quick at 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm gonna bend these, add my tape. I'm gonna peel off a little bit of the tape again, and now this flap is gonna go down, and I'm gonna add this new one right here on the top. Make sure it's center, just like so. So now this layout will open up and it will open down, which is exactly what I have going on here on my album. It opens up and it opens down. So now that we are ready with this one, we can place it here. So again, I'm gonna peel the tape a little bit on the top and move this up. I'm gonna insert, find the center, which is here. We're gonna place it right in there. Again, we're just gonna place it on top of our tape, and then press down, peel that out, and then we turn, and then we peel this side out too, just like that. So then we have our very first. The next page, I'm going to add a pocket on the back here, and again, I'm gonna use one of my scrap pieces, which is this one here, and I'm going to cut this out as I have 2 in here. Okay, so this is going to be cut at 3.5 by 7 1/4. Okay, and so this piece, because it's going to be a pocket, I'm going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And I'm going to trim these corners here like this and fold along the score lines, just like this and just like so. And now you want to make sure you're holding your page upright, and your pocket is going to be like this. Now when we turn this page, this is going to open to the right. So I want my page when we turn it to open to the left. So I'm going to flip it like this. So now when I turn this page, it's going to open to the left. Okay, so now I go back, now that I have my right orientation, and go with my glue. And I like to do glue for pockets because, again, I have a little bit more time to adjust and make it even before placing it down. Okay, so here I go. Make sure it's aligned to the corner and to this corner. Just like that. So I'm gonna hold this for a little bit and go back and put it in my album. Okay, so now we're ready to put this one in. I want the pocket to be on this side. So again, I peel the tape off, find the center, we place it down, just like this. And then we're gonna turn this around and take the tape off, just like that. Okay, so the next page, I am just gonna make sure that when we place it, the opening is to the opposite side. So this one opens to the left and this one will open to the right, and I'm not doing anything on the back. So find the center again and just place it like this. So for the last page, so this will flip to the side. If we add it in here, this will flip to the side again. And because of my original plan, this was supposed to open up. Like I said, I had to do a change of plans. So I don't want just these two opening on the side because it's still similar to the other pages. So I'm gonna grab another piece of my, there's that. Another piece of my scraps here. And I'm just gonna cut these at 6.5 by whatever they measure, which is 4.5. So that's okay with me. And I'm just gonna go and score at 1/2 inch along the 6.5 inch side. So I'm just creating another little flap to make my layout a little bit different. And I'm gonna place my double-sided tape on my flap, just like this. And now where this opens like so, I'm gonna place it on the other side. So I'm gonna take this off and place it. Make sure I center up and down, just like this. Very easy, very simple. Now we have another layout, and we can go ahead and add a magnet here and here if you like, to keep that page closed. So I'm going to now insert it in here. So as I had on my original album, let me show you this page. It's simple. There's no flaps or openings. I just wanted to display the beautiful paper. But here, this opens up, but now that's the page that we change, right? But if you're careful enough and you want to do it that way, then you still have time to do it if you modify it at the beginning, right? So I'm gonna peel off the tape and finally add my last page in here. And take that out, and then I go back and take this out. So to reinforce my covers and my hinge, I'm gonna grab a piece of cardstock again, and this is gonna be 6.25 by 6.75, and all I'm gonna do is just glue them on the front and back covers. So next I'm going to add some magnets to keep this closed, and you always want to add the magnets before you add any paper. Make sure you always add them, because sometimes then we forget, and then once we add the paper it's too late, right? So I'm going to use my double-sided tape to add my magnets. I'm going to place one right here on the top, just like so. And then I place the other one right on top, and I place the sticky side up, put my magnet, and then once I close it, it's gonna stick on the sides of the tape here. Okay, so I'm gonna need one there, and I don't think I need one here, but if you like, you can go ahead and add it. But I definitely will need one here as well. So put my magnet there again with the tape. Make sure it's center. When you add your magnet, you want to stay about a 3/4 inch away from the side of your page, so you have room to glue your design paper. Otherwise you will see that your design paper is not gonna have enough room to glue down there. Okay, so I'm gonna add the tape there again. I'm sorry, the magnet and the tape. Sticky side up, place my magnet, And all I do now is close it and make sure the sides of the tape stick to my page. And here we go. Now for the insert for my pages, I'm just gonna cut my cardstock at 6 by 6 1/4. Okay, so then we can go into our album, and this is gonna go in here on the pages, and it's gonna stick out a little bit. So what I like to do on my pages is use my border punch and just make a pretty trim. If you don't have a border punch, you can always just add some lace. I also love adding laces on my inserts. It looks really pretty from when you look at it from the side, but you can do it like that and it looks so pretty. Or you can also just round the corners. It also looks cute. But what I like is something sticking out, so it's easy for you to put in and out of your page. So I'm just gonna finish up with my other 3. My girls, you brought me breakfast. Look how beautiful. So good thing that we are done. I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. It was very easy, very simple. I hope that you try it yourself. I'm gonna go eat my breakfast, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.